If Jeff Bezos wanted to give away $100 billion to the Washington Commanders, that's his choice.
Yeah.
And just have the greatest team of all time.
That's what I would do. I'd be like, I need every quarterback. I would sign every quarterback. Every team would suck because
salary
have everyone.
cap, but whatever. But my point is,
pay the tax. I need Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes.
My point is, when you earn your money, you're allowed to do whatever you want.
Not in America.
Like, if you want to go get a Tom Ford suit, you should be allowed to go get a Tom Ford suit.
Are you speaking about yourself?
I did.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, group chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the number one podcast in the world. We have an action-packed episode. We are obviously starting off with some more bad news from layoff land. Amazon cutting more people. We talked about the state of employment if you're in that particular profession. We are talking, we have a big interview at the end of this episode with Ian Rogers. We're also talking about the top 10 most expensive zip codes in America. And we have a full slate of news that we have to get through. And the top show in the country is back.
And calls for more layoffs.
Calls for more layoffs. On who wants blood on the streets?
I don't, but Powell does.
And of course, Kathy's, we've been promising and we will deliver. We have two big announcements. One, we are having a holiday group chat event December 6th in West Hollywood, California. The RSVP information will be out soon. December 6th, 6 p.m. This is 100% going to happen. We are asking, it is going to be a white elephant party. And every person who attends has to give something. And it doesn't have to be anything physical or anything of monetary value, but it does have to, what can you offer someone that is of value?
Yeah,
so
it could be time.
It could be time. Like, you're a graphic designer, you'll do a logo. You're a lawyer, you'll take a 30-minute call for free. Whatever it is, you will be required to bring that to the event to get entrance into it.
If you're a magician, do some tricks.
If you're a comedian, tell me a joke. Whatever it is, you have to bring something. And that's the one requirement for all Kathys that attend. It will be December 6th at 6 p.m. And more details and the RSVP info will be provided. And we're still full steam ahead on the group chat NFT. We're just doing one slight change. We're exiting the word NFT.
Yeah.
We're setting
Sam
sail to
screwed
it.
us.
Yeah. SBF has really, any acronym right now to me is just too risky.
We're calling it a club.
We're calling it a club. It may be Kathy Club. It may be Group Chat Club. It is a club. We're no longer affiliated with that word.
Yep.
SBF has just toasted it for me. So if you have not signed up for that, we will change the URL because it is groupchatnft.com. But sign up, get all the information on that. And, the white elephant party that we're having will kick off what we'll be launching for our club membership. Think of it as your country club into the world of the group chat lifestyle. Let's get into the episode. All right, everyone. Another day, more layoffs. Amazon hacked 10,000 people yesterday. 10,000 seems to be the number. You know how, and I have an interesting conversation I was having with Josh about this. 10,000 people in previous layoffs, according to like Jack Welch, his way of, there's 10% of bottom performers is how he used to cut people.
In any economy. Jack Welch would say fire the bottom 10% of any.
There's a book saying that he's kind of an idiot too.
Of Jack Welch.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I mean, at this point, I don't know who's smart.
Yeah, nobody. The interesting thing about this current set of layoffs is when you speak to people at Meta at Amazon, at, whatever said company, they are cutting all-stars.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just cutting bottom underperformers. And some people believe, one, compensation, I'm sure, has something to do with it. Two, I think departments, like Amazon was really around hardware.
It was corporate layoffs, right?
Alexa, some retail,
advertising,
like areas where maybe they're not doing as well as they expected. So I do think the department you work in matters. I do think your salary matters if you're really high paying in that department. But I also think one of the interesting things is it's also protecting some of the workers, because this way it's also gives people that got laid off that they're not an underperformer. They're just in a wrong division, and actually helps people that got laid off. Because if Amazon goes out and says we're cutting 10,000 underperformers,
right,
and you're part of that cohort of people that got laid off, you're kind of fucked. You don't want to be, if you're like, we just cut 10% of our worst employees, sorry.
Right.
But they're not signaling that. I think they gave them a pretty good cover from that perspective.
Yeah, it's good cover, but I don't know where they're going to get jobs.
So that's the other thing. So I talked to someone yesterday who was in our office who is primarily in a recruiting function. And he was saying, he's like, the thing that I fear is that everyone got 12 to 16 weeks severance. Everyone went and some of these cases in Meta, they gave you, what was it, 20 days for every...
Effectively 6 months.
Yeah, up to an additional...
a year.
So if you think about from that perspective, and you're this paid person, and you probably have savings, and you got this crazy severance, you're like, yeah, I'm going to hit the slopes for the next 3 months.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a pretty hard reality
Q2
next year.
Yeah.
Because everyone I talk to in tech, especially of the employers that of large scale, it's very scary in terms of like they're cutting people, no one's hiring.
Yeah. So
sure, early stage, I get it. Like early stage is still being funded and you can hire a ton of employees, but you're talking of the north of $1 to $5 billion companies that are still private.
Yeah.
There's no pathway to go public through 2023. None. Absolutely none. So you're talking the earliest 6 months of 2024 if the entire cycles out. So all these private tech companies also have public comps that are trading basically at the same valuations as the private comps because they're down 70, 80%.
I mean, I would say the private comps are trading way better than public comps.
Right. Yeah. So my point is, like, I think this Silicon Valley recession is so real and it's going to affect everyone.
So no more free lunches.
No, they should get rid of the kombucha. They should get rid of everything.
Starve.
Or just be like a normal person and go down to Lisa, how we do, and go get a breakfast burrito.
How much is that?
$4.
No, it's not. It's
7?
Like $8.
Okay, but we have to pay for it.
Yeah.
We're not. Are you paying for your employees' breakfast burritos?
I feel like today we did. I feel like today we had bagels. Loose bagels were floating around.
But in general,
some
like
donuts.
that behavior is done, and I think it's really like kind of apparent with the activist investor TCI, someone out of London, never even heard of him.
Yeah,
he writes a letter saying Google needs to cut costs. The problem is, like, all the stock voting rights are held with Larry and Sergey, so there's literally.
Yeah, but you get a stock pop. There's nothing hotter on earth. So that you said you loved Meta at 125. The stock went to $89. It is now back almost down to the same point. It's almost flat. Well, you're flat. Okay, but it got a 30% pop the moment they said they cut all those people.
Yeah.
So if you're Larry and Sergey and be like, I could use an extra 100 billion for Christmas.
Yeah. If they do, yeah, no, I agree. I think if
Google seems to me to be the most bloated of the companies,
especially because we know where they make all their money.
Yeah,
2 divisions.
Let's search YouTube cloud.
Yeah.
3 divisions.
But they have a lot of like kind of fat.
Yeah. They have a lot of moonshot projects that probably don't need to be staffed. So that's the thing is there's a formula now. You're a big tech company. You're still very profitable, but we all know that everyone's bloated. You do that cut, everyone thinks now you're focused. You're right sizing for kind of a rough ride. You get rewarded. So is there any reason at this point not to lay people off?
I don't think so. I think
because you could get away as long as you lay off like 13%, you have cover.
yeah,
If you lay off 30%,
that means you're probably going bankrupt.
yeah, there's something more serious about your business.
I think the market's demanding 13%.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're
You wake up in the
profitable.
morning, you got to cut 13%.
Yeah, like even Microsoft, Apple, they probably could lay off 13%.
Well, yeah, those companies could lay off. Here's what my suggestion is. If you are one of those people that laid off and got a nice severance package, do not fucking wait. Go get a job right now.
Yeah, don't get on the skis.
Because especially if you're an engineer, it's like we're talking about it. He's like, if you take all the engineers that just got laid off in the last 30 days, you're not like 20,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
20,000 engineers are available, and they were not available.
From the best and brightest companies.
Yes. And so 20,000 engineers are going to be looking for a job after ski season.
They should probably start looking before ski season.
How many of those 20,000 people do you think will look for a job?
I think they're all going to wait till January. It'll be too late.
Yeah.
Don't you? Like,
No.
think about human psychology.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, they've all made a lot of money.
I
So
think
let's
if you're married with kids, you may have a different view. You may not take the risk. I think you're just like, fuck it, I'll take a job. I don't want to. I think if you're young,
you're skiing your face off.
I mean, dude, we had snow in LA last week.
What is it? Next week is when the slopes open for
No,
everywhere.
Mammoth opened last week.
Oh, it did.
Because 4 feet of snow.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I think if you're a private company, the medicine hasn't happened yet. That's my, like, kind of all the conversations I've had. No private company has actually done the hard work yet.
Which is what?
Fire everyone.
Yeah.
Because they've all raised in 2021. They all raised gargantuan
So they have a lot of cash still.
amounts of capital, but they're not going to be able to raise in 2024 or 2023.
2023, yeah. Unless your business on fire.
Who's on fire?
I'm sure there's people on fire.
Figma.
They sold. They're done. Yeah, I'll be interesting to see how it all plays out because it feels like a very difficult time if you don't make quick decisions as an employee. Like, and we keep saying like how you have to play the game internally at your company. Similarly, if you were, sadly laid off, how do you take advantage of that and like jump at the opportunity right now? Because you could end up at a great company right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, there are still good companies. I'm not.
And there are a lot of companies hiring still. There are plenty of smaller companies. You may have to take a haircut on comp. You probably have to take a haircut on comp. But why not? You're safe then. You can wait it out till things get better.
I have a sense that the tech recession in the private companies is going to last way longer than anyone expects.
Yeah.
And I think the companies that got public, now you've already, down 80, 90%, and you'll be able to figure it out if you have a viable business or you don't.
Yep.
And you go out of business. But I think the private companies is still to be determined if any of these companies were actually viable. I don't want to call any names out because I have a laundry list of names where I'm like, I don't know.
Show us your list.
I'm not going to do that, but there's plenty of companies that have raised at north of $10 billion. And I'm like, what's the business? I mean, I told you the story. I actually told this real time. This is November of 2021, where a company that was pitching me, the CEO, had $50,000 of revenue and was raising at $300 million valuation.
That company is called Figma. No.
But it was $50,000 a month, so call it $600,000. They're raising it $300 million. And he said, I had the end of the day to confirm.
Did they
if
end
I'm
up
gonna
getting
invest.
that round done?
They got the round done. I didn't invest.
And are they still around today?
They're around because they raised so much money last year, right?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. What's interesting is the list of top 10 U.S. zip codes came out. Can you guess what number one is in the country?
In terms of what? Is it real estate value or what?
Yeah.
It's not Atherton?
It is Atherton.
Okay.
So that is where the most wealth destruction on earth has happened. There's nowhere more than Atherton, right? These people that don't know, Atherton is a suburb of San Francisco, kind of our
Palo Alto, basically.
Palo Alto, yeah. And
It's 10 minutes from Stanford.
10 minutes from Stanford. We have a lot of friends who live there. Median home sale price in 2022 was $9 million.
I mean, what are you getting there for $9 million? Everyone's
The
got
median.
like $30 million homes.
Yeah. Yeah.
A livable home's $30 million.
Yeah. I mean, our cousins live there, and I can't imagine how much their house is.
I would say theirs is 50, if I had to guess. Wouldn't you?
No. I don't think it's that much.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, they had a 400-person engagement party in the backyard.
Did they? Oh, that house.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's 50.
Yeah.
That's maybe north of 50. Yeah. Easily. But yeah, I mean, Atherton's number one. I don't know how to pronounce this. It's basically Southampton, but it's Sagaponack, New York.
Yeah, whatever.
That's median house is 6.9 million. Beverly Hills is 3. Median house home sale price, 6.7 million. Boston, number 4, 6.2 million.
But like, Beverly Hills, what home's going for 6.7 million?
South of Wilshire.
Okay.
Yeah, they are. There's $4 million, $3 million houses. They're called the slums of Beverly Hills for a reason.
But if you go north of Santa
Sunset.
Monica,
North of Sunset, it's like north. It's 50.
yeah.
But if you go deeper, upper in the hills, in like 90210 post office or whatever they're called, like Beverly Hills post office, that's still like
Yeah, I guess.
there's apartments in there too. What's so funny? You're like mocking a
no.
$6.7 million house.
No, I just think it's underestimating how much it is to actually live in these zip codes.
Sure.
Because like 9 million in Atherton, come on, you're not.
Do you think prices in a place, we know San Francisco real estate has gone down 100%.
Everyone I know. So actually, I have a close friend. He bought his house, I think, 2000, call it 17, 18, in Russian Hill in San Francisco.
So is he up or down?
He lost money. He sold it this year.
And he bought it before like the madness of IPOs and all that.
Yeah, he lost money.
Holy shit. So,
and then my other close friend who lives in a nice part of San Francisco, he said he's guaranteed down 20% underwater.
Wow.
And he bought it probably like 18 months ago.
Okay, so I know a lot of people in San Francisco moved to the suburbs. Do you think a zip code like Atherton has been affected?
I wouldn't think so, because there's no homelessness. There's no crime in Atherton. It's still like...
No, I'm just saying people's wealth has changed, though.
Well, people's wealth has changed, and I don't know if the new person that can buy a $30 million home will choose to live in Atherton.
Yeah.
They probably would live, in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
If I had to guess. Like behind the hotel.
Because there's no point to live there, because you can live anywhere now.
Yeah, if you have that kind of money, there's no reason. You're not tied to Atherton. Most of the people that made money in Atherton, or whatever, in San Francisco, weren't tied to SF.
They were there for the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's fascinating just to see that that's still the number one zip code. I'm really curious if the median home sale price drops in Atherton and Beverly Hills and Southampton next year. At some point, home prices have to correct.
You would think, and especially with
everything else from pandemic has officially corrected, right? Like Stocks have corrected. Inflation is correcting. Everything that like was complete, like, freight prices, everything that just got bloated during pandemic has corrected except real estate.
You would have to think that with mortgage rates at 7-8%, like think about it, if you have like a $20-30 million home.
That's all cash.
You think it's all cash?
These people are rich.
But I'm just saying, a mortgage going from like 15-20K a month to 40,000 a month, it's a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I know who won't be able to afford any house is Jeff Bezos. He's giving away all his money.
Good for him.
What do you think about that?
I like it. I think obviously guys like him have already taken enough off the table, and he's going to donate it. And, hopefully he's the next owner of the Washington Commanders with Jay-Z.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he doesn't give away all of it, and he can't buy the team.
Yeah.
So, he came out with Lauren Sanchez. They did an interview, and the interview was actually really good because
I didn't see it.
I watched a clip where he was giving it's like, we're entering a recession. What tips would you give? And instead of just giving the normal nonsense, like, when you watch CNBC, it's like not like relatable tips. He's like, look, very simple. You're a business. Consider putting away a large purchase. Whether it's a small business, large business, it's time to hunker down, get back to the basics, have cash. It's not the end of the world. It's a bumpy ride, and just be prepared for it. Like, he gave like very like basic practical advice that like a lot of times when you see on TV, they're scaring you that it's the end of the world and it's all, doom and gloom. Which I thought was it was really nice, and I also, talking about him donating all of his money, he's giving his money away to climate change. He's giving away money to. I think what he realizes is there's so much divisiveness in this country. There's so many issues to tackle, and so how do you, as someone of his kind of power, of like, what do you do to help humanity? And I think I'm curious to see the mechanisms as he's going to give away the money. I think that'll be determined. He gave Dolly Parton and her foundation $100 million the other day, and Trevor Noah mocked it, saying, "Oh, you're giving money to millionaires." If you know anything about Dolly Parton and what she's done, he's such an idiot for making that statement. And so I think at the end of the day, you do have to give money to people that know how to allocate the money. You can't just hand out money to average people. We did that the last 2 years. What happened?
I also think it's highly irresponsible of anyone of any fame, celebrity, or whatever, to kind of dictate who billionaires need to give their money away from.
Yeah.
It's their money.
Yeah.
Give it away to whoever you want.
Yeah.
And if you disagree with it, fine. But like, that's not like a point of contention, in my opinion.
Well,
if Jeff Bezos wanted to give away $100 billion to the Washington Commanders, that's his choice.
Yeah.
And just have the greatest team of all time.
That's what I would do. I'd be like, I need every quarterback. I would sign every quarterback. Every team would
they
suck
have a
because we have
salary
everyone.
cap, but whatever. But my point is,
pay a
like,
tax. I need Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes.
My point is, when you earn your money, you're allowed to do whatever you want.
Not in America.
Like, if you want to go get a Tom Ford suit, you should be allowed to go get a Tom Ford suit.
Are you speaking about yourself?
I did get one.
Okay.
I talked about it on the last pod.
Yeah.
My point is, like, no one should be telling me what I should be able to do with the money I have.
Yeah, I think in America,
especially when you're donating, because that's charity.
Yeah. Immediately everyone's like, oh, well, it's a tax shelter for a blah. He's still fucking giving away his money in an efficient way. What are you doing? He created enormous amount of wealth and convenience for humanity. And he not only became extremely wealthy, a lot of people became extremely wealthy. A lot of funds participated.
A lot of small businesses.
Do you know how he created an ecosystem that changed small businesses. Basically, all the businesses that Walmart decimated in their growth, he gave new life to with this new ecosystem of billions of dollars that's created. So then this guy goes and gives away his money. And I had tweeted out like, oh, what else do you want to give? And someone's like, how about a kidney? And the thing is like, it's never enough. It's never enough. And there were so many negative comments about one of the richest men ever giving away all his wealth.
Yeah, it's stupid.
It is stupid. And
It's absolutely stupid.
I think you look like an idiot. That's my opinion.
And I think you can't dictate the way people who've earned money in a legal way
Yeah.
to tell them where to put it.
Yeah.
And if they have causes that they care about,
Yeah.
that's on them.
Yeah.
Like there's causes that I care about that I'm going to donate to, and you're going to tell me, oh no,
Yeah.
heart disease is more important.
Yeah. They would tell you that.
Right?
Yeah. I would give a substantial amount to USC football. I want to make sure we're always number one.
Well, I think the private businesses are going to do that.
Why?
I mean, NIL. Like,
Yeah,
I think we're fine.
I know, but like if Bezos had gone to USC, we'd be better. We'd have a defense.
Yeah, I think it takes a year.
Okay. So by next year, we'll have a good defense.
I think next year we'll have a very good defense.
Okay. All right.
Because Beats by Jerry can pay for everyone to come play.
Yeah. As long as Beats by Dre is focused on making sure we're number one.
I think they're the key element.
Is everyone on USC campus is wearing Beats by Dre? Just like, every time I look at
I mean,
video,
the numbers we've heard that Caleb Williams, the quarterback, who's going to be the quarterback next year, that he's making more than a starting rookie NFL quarterback.
he should stay at USC 6-7 years. It's a way better life. Why do you want to be an NFL player? Being a star player at USC is better than being an NFL player.
100%.
Way better.
Yeah, because in college, if you're that good, you always succeed.
Yes.
Like you always can throw 5 touchdowns. And
every
NFL,
week,
it's impossible.
I turn on TV, has 5 touchdowns.
NFL, it's impossible.
No,
to do it week by week.
Lamar
by week.
Jackson had these insane first 4 weeks, hasn't done anything.
What about Josh Allen, our boy?
Yeah.
Like, I love him, but like he's had a couple weeks where he's
and
not
now it's
Caleb Williams.
stressed. Yeah. And now he's stressed out.
Yeah.
Because he's going to win the Super Bowl or not. Caleb Williams gets a Beats by Dre headphone. He's giving away beats every week too. I watch a video. Women's soccer team. Here's a Beats by Dre. Men's
Beats by Dre is single-handedly holding up the USC NFL.
I want to thank Apple and all the great people at Beats by Dre. I'm going to go buy a Beats by Dre headphone just because of the support that this amazing company has done for our school. This is the type of charity I'm looking for. But yeah, I think back to Jeff Bezos. Awesome. Between him and his wife, his ex-wife,
not his wife, his ex-wife,
yeah. Between him and his ex-wife, the amount of money that they're pushing in to the nonprofit ecosystem is unbelievable.
And I think anyone to criticize them is completely unwarranted.
Yeah,
like they can do whatever they want. It's their money.
Yeah.
If they want to go give it to like a bunch of TikTokers, that's up to them.
Like $1 billion to TikTok?
Yeah, just $1 billion of TikTok influencers. I want you to dance like this.
Yeah, and everyone has to do the same dance every day.
Who are any of us to tell them not to do that?
Yeah, they can do whatever they want.
It's their money.
Yeah. Because the way to really think about it is if it was, imagine someone telling you what to do with your money.
Right.
You had $100 and you went to go spend it and they go, no.
Yeah, what if you went to La Scala and you wanted to spend $200 on lunch? Someone says, hey,
you know what? If you gave me 100 and go eat at somewhere cheaper,
go to Sweet Green.
You go to Sweet Green for $10 and give me that 190, that'd be better.
Yeah.
The problem is that's where we're at. This is the challenge of like everyone who can give a voice and opinion on every topic all the time. And everyone feels emboldened to give like the hot take, not just being like, whoa, that's awesome. Like I didn't take Jeff Bezos for give my fortune away guy.
Really? I thought he would eventually.
I think I expected him to do a lot for humanity, but I think I expected more through private ways because I think he thinks government and things like that are inefficient, just the way that he's such an efficient operator. And I can't imagine him thinking like some of these nonprofits or these institutions are efficiently ran. So I'm curious to see through what lens he actually donates the money because there's fat in even the nonprofit system. Tons.
Yeah. So you said Trevor Noah is the one that complained?
Yeah.
So
because he gave money to Dolly Parton's charity.
Who pays for his first class seats and his private jets? He's not flying coach.
Yeah. He does. He makes $20 million a year.
Yeah. So Where's your accountability
Yeah.
if you're going to make that claim?
Yeah. There's no accountability. It'll just be it's the biggest clip everywhere. Trevor Noah criticizes Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, I think it's a lazy criticism from really rich people. And it's only really rich people that criticize.
Yeah. He makes $20 million a year.
At least. Probably more.
And I think he's dating Dua Lipa.
And she makes what, like 50 million?
She makes like 50. They're like the richest couple.
Yeah, I think it's really lazy that these people think that they can sit on their high horse and tell people how they should donate their money. Because if you're donating and I donate to causes, I know you donate to causes, you should be able to donate to whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
It's your money.
Yeah. Go, Jeff.
Yeah. I'm long Bezos.
You know what Michael Burry is long? Prisons. We talked about that he had taken one position in a prison stock. He is now doubling down. His portfolio is now over 50% in prison stocks. It's unbelievable. He just thinks we are just entering complete crime mania.
So he must be making a bet on leadership changing that crime's actually going to get reeled back in, right?
Yeah.
Meaning that prisons are going to be more profitable because we're going to have more criminals actually imprisoned versus what's going on right now where criminals are just
he thinks
everywhere.
the pendulum will swing the other way.
That's his bet.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. He's an odd guy. Like he's
been wrong like 90% of the time. He was right once.
So you don't like the prison bet?
No, I think it's fine. I just think like he's probably right on this one, to be honest. If I had to guess, I think the pendulum's going to switch and there's going to be stronger criminal like
incarceration.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the whole country's mandating it.
Yeah.
Depending on like, even LA, it's just crime. Everyone wants less crime. It's like, who's going to deliver it? It's the only decision.
Yeah.
But no one's like, hey, we should defund the police. I think that mantra is done.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's interesting. Michael Burry and his like way of investing is fascinating.
Yeah, and it's weird that he deletes his tweets.
He's an odd guy. Well, there's an account that it's called Michael Burry's deleted tweets. You can just follow everything he deletes if you want to.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid, actually.
Yeah. Because if someone's tracking every single one of your tweets, then what's the point? But it's always interesting to see like these like, whether they're right or wrong, these like kind of macro thinkers, and they make these macro. He's like a macro guy, right? That was The Big Short. He's clearly making some macro bet on incarceration. He's made macro bets on water and all kinds of different things in the past. I'd love to be in the fly on the wall with all these types of investors on like what else. Because here's the most interesting bet that I see the biggest investors in the world continuously increase. Warren Buffett, Carl Icahn, is energy. Like oil, energy.
So they basically don't believe in this EV revolution.
Yeah, I think they believe that that's a very small penetration and we're going to be heavily dependent. I could argue that Warren Buffett has been basically right on a long-term horizon on most of his bets. I think almost all of his bets.
Yeah, nice railroad bet.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Like 6-7 years ago?
Yeah. I would say Alibaba, I think, was the only real miss.
Yeah, I think his current stake in Apple is $123 billion.
The guy just found out about phones and the internet like 5 years ago and he's like the best technology investor.
So I think that's what Warren Buffett simplifies it.
Yeah.
Like it's actually really kind of simple to be a good investor where you're like, oh, what's going to be bigger in 5 years than it is today?
But he doesn't just go there, but that clearly has a stable business behind it, because the argument would have been you could have made all the money in technology 10 years earlier. Reality is he's made more money in technology than
anyone.
Yeah.
It made $100 billion on Apple.
Yeah. On
what
absolute
VC
dollar.
firm has made $100 billion?
Nobody. Oh, good old Warren. Just good.
And he was late.
Yeah.
So I think I think, I've had this conversation in the past 10 days post this FTX crash. Like, who really knows what they're doing? Like, all these people that we talk about and that have gone on podcasts, that write these memos, that write these fancy tweets. Like, did you actually know what you're doing?
On Twitter.
No, I'm saying, did you actually know what you're doing from an investor perspective?
No, they know what they're doing on Twitter. They're good at tweeting.
They know how to get engagement on these kind of claims. And I don't know. I've been investing in ventures since 2008, and
Someone gave me a good lucky fat cat.
And I think I'm smarter than everyone.
Because you're a lucky fat cat.
Yes.
I have the image I'll share with you. They did it on DALL-E, so you could just, the AI, generative AI. Yeah.
Oh, it's good.
Just a fat cat with a hat and a podcast mic.
That's good. But my point is, like, I've been told that all these people are so much smarter than me, and I don't think they are.
Yeah. Look, I mean, Warren Buffett is.
Yeah, he's smarter.
Yeah.
I'll concede. I'm saying specific to Silicon Valley, where, I think Silicon Valley thumbs their nose at the average public, that they're so much smarter, and we're outsiders. We're in LA.
Yeah.
We were from fashion, and we have a podcast. And
everyone in Silicon Valley has a podcast.
Yeah, but my point is, I don't think they knew shit.
Yeah. What's funny is I ran into a friend who's from the fashion world last week, and he was telling me, I was like, "What are you up to?" He's like, "Oh, I'm a GP at a venture fund." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know you're in venture." He's like, venture's the new music biz. Everyone's in it.
That's good.
I was like, wow, I didn't even think about it. He's like, "Yeah, man, there's a lot of money floating around."
Yeah, write fancy memos. That's how you become a GP at a venture firm.
Yeah, you got to blog,
say nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, and then when you look at it, at the end of the day, all of this is really about making money. And time again, as much as everyone doesn't want to invest in consumer businesses have insane exits. Estee Lauder is buying Tom Ford for $2.8 billion.
That's great.
It's insane. That's a big fucking number. $2.8 billion. You were part of that. You helped that.
I did buy a suit.
Yeah, you bought a suit.
Great experience.
But it just shows, one, luxury is like unstoppable. It continues to be a just force. If you have like buying a luxury asset, like it's so hard to recreate Tom Ford. And if Tom Ford's not even that old of a brand, right? It's a pretty new brand in the grand scheme of things. That having a luxury asset is like having like a piece of real estate, because it's so hard. Like to even think what Mike Amiri has done with Amiri is insane.
Mm-hmm.
That it's an actual luxury brand that's been built in the modern era. All these brands that like LVMH and the Gucci Group own are like 100 years old. So if you own one of these,
when did Tom Ford start?
Like the early 2000s, I think.
Yeah, Tom Ford's still Tom Ford.
Yeah, he's there.
So I'll tell you my experience of buying a suit. This is August of this year. Okay. And I went to go buy a suit. I hadn't bought a suit in years, right? Pre-pandemic, no weddings. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go splurge. So I go and, talk with the salesman. Incredible service.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, luxury.
Yeah.
And I just started asking him, this is already, the stock market's down like, 30-40% at that time. So it wasn't a good economy. And I was like, how's business? And he's like,
oh yeah, you said this.
I thought 2021 I thought was going to be my greatest year. And he's like, 2022 is even better.
That's insane. Tom Ford started in 2004. It is a new ass business.
Very new. I mean, 5'4" is 2005, right? 2002. Oh, yeah. You're older than Tom Ford.
Yeah. Didn't get the exit. But 2.8 billion is fucking nuts. And Estee Lauder clearly sees opportunity in fragrance and beauty and
I think Tom Ford, correct me if I'm wrong, is primarily a men's business.
yeah. He makes women's ready to
No,
wear.
I know.
Yeah.
The second floor is
I don't know
women's.
where the revenue split is.
I think it's men's suits. I think it's the like go-to if you have a nice wedding tux suit business.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, fragrance is humongous for him. Makes a lot of money in fragrance. And that's probably why Estee Lauder even, worked with them. But yeah, I mean, Tom Ford, definitely apparel, accessories, everything. Huge sunglass business.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Pretty exciting.
No, it's great. And I think that's the only part of the economy that's going to be insulated from this recession.
Yeah.
Is luxury. I think luxury is fine.
Yeah, clearly. All right. Before we jump into our conversation with Ian, one last topic. My favorite TV show, the number one TV show in America is back, Yellowstone.
Okay.
And it premiered season 5 on Sunday. And Taylor Sheridan is the creator of the show. And what's interesting is, and it's funny because like I've said on the podcast, I watched the show and, our friend Sid Shaw turned me on to the show and it's been labeled by people as a red state Game of Thrones, like it's a MAGA show. And
I haven't watched it, so I can't speak on it.
yeah, and it's absolutely not. It's just like an incredibly, I think it's like you see white people in cowboys outfits and you just assume, you make an assumption. And I bet you so many people didn't watch the show because of it, because they have this like preconceived notion of what the show is. It's unfucking believable. It's visually so beautiful because it's in Yellowstone. And
I've spent a lot of time in Yellowstone.
then you should be watching this show because it also gives you like a history lesson on kind of like how Native Americans were treated and how they are currently kind of cohabitating in these types of national parks and these sacred types of lands. It's a very good show. It's very well written. Kevin Costner is just an absolute beast in the show. Incredible. And it's funny that it gets labeled as a MAGA show. It's insane.
Yeah, and I think it's important for people to actually visit these towns because I've been to Yellowstone, a handful of times now at this point, and everyone's really nice.
Yeah.
I don't know what their politics are. It doesn't matter.
Like MAGA people are nice.
Yeah, it's okay to disagree.
Yeah.
No, like I've actually had this conversation with one of my best friends. We disagree on like 2 really important things right now, Elon and Chappelle. And I was like, isn't it nice to disagree and not hate each other?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. So on that note, watch Yellowstone. Incredible show. All right, let's get into this very, very special interview with Ian Rogers from Ledger. Special interview alert. The stakes are too high. Things are happening very quickly. We needed an expert to help us out here. We have Ian Rogers from Ledger, fresh off what I just read on TechCrunch, the biggest day ever in Ledger history.
That's true. Yesterday was the biggest day that Ledger has ever had. The second biggest day was Sunday, and that's the end of the biggest week that we've ever had at Ledger. And it was about 7 times the sales of the 7 days previous.
Oh my God. And so you guys love SBF over there.
Oh man, I mean, look, we never want to see people lose their money, man. It's not good for confidence in the space, But I mean, look, we've been talking about self-custody for years, as you know, often on this show, and people look at us like we're trying to sell them veganism. You know what I mean? They're like, it's like, yeah. Oh, you're so pure, guys. Like, come on, man, have a hot dog.
Yeah.
No, come on. Like, if not self-custody, why crypto? Like that's the way we look at it. And so, we hate that. Look, Ledger was started, in the wake of Mount Gox, right? If you think about it, this kind of stuff, this too big to fail thing happens, every 7 years? Bitcoin came from Lehman Brothers. Ledger comes from Mount Gox. And, now we've got FTX, like proving to us again that centralized money is not the way. No one is too big to fail. I mean, FTX wasn't even kind of too big to fail. This was a young company,
It's super fascinating at the speed at which this FTX thing is unfolding and the impact it's had on the entire industry. So from not looking through the ledger lens, looking through the crypto lens, what kind of impact, like how big of a setback is FTX for confidence?
I think it's really hard to tell. I think it might be too early to tell. And I think we don't know what shoe drops next. Are they the only ones? I mean, if everyone, look at our sales and then say that, people are running around, like doing self-custody and pulling their funds out of every exchange on the planet, which fund, we're going to find out soon, which funds, had reserves 1 for 1, and which ones don't. So, this might not be the end of this. So it's certainly not the end of crypto, not even close. I think that people who don't understand what's going on, right? They the people that just kind of put all of crypto into one bucket, right? Like, those people, might just look at this and go, whoa, I'm not coming close to that. Remember what happened in 1999. Look at my friends at LVMH as an example. They invested a lot in the internet in the late 90s, and they got burned. And they took a lot of years off afterwards. They said, look, I don't want to wade back into those waters right now. I just don't feel comfortable doing it. So, I think that there will certainly be people that feel the same way about crypto generally, even though really none of the fundamentals have changed, and culture is coming into Web3 in a big way. I mean, this is, the same week you have this happening, you have Nike launching their Web3 product. You've got, you got a lot of people in space. You got Hennessy last week. You've got Starbucks, the month before. You've got Instagram last week. You've got Amazon in the space. So I think actually 2023 is still pretty bright for digital assets overall. I think it'd be great if we went into 2023 with, a little more caution, a little less get rich quick, and, more culture, more, people who are doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, I'm of the view that the cat's out of the bag. And at this point, regardless of how many bad actors you have like SBF and FTX, that crypto's not going anywhere because it's literally every single person in the world who has a smartphone can access it. And as long as that exists, crypto's going to exist.
Well, I think the most telling sign is if people thought crypto was at the brink of like complete, loss of confidence, then Ledger wouldn't have had a record day. Mm-hmm. They just have a loss of confidence in the
exchanges,
in a lot of these exchanges. So it just shows that people still want to participate. They want to participate in a different way.
Yeah, I'm of the view that the people that want to think crypto's going to zero, like, unfortunately, it's not.
For sure. Look, guys, this is gonna, there's so many things here. I think you're right. Look, FUD is FUD, right? And people are going to be, and there's now a lot of FUD around crypto, and it's going to take some time for the smoke to clear. But I started working on the internet in the early 90s, and I remember 2001, 2002 really well. I had a very hard time raising money for my startup in 2001, 2002, and I'd already had success selling, the startup that I was a part of to AOL in 1999. So, the market was really, really grim in those days. Yet, the success of the internet was inevitable, and we made it through. Same thing with digital assets. I mean, we're going from digital money to digital collectibles to digital products from companies like Louis Vuitton to ultimately digital passports. Like, this is inevitable. There's no if in this sentence. It's only a when. Yep. So, and if this FUD means that people understand, the concept of self-custody, and if not self-custody, then why crypto? Even better. If this means that people understand that what we're really trying to do here is build global, decentralized digital scarcity, even better. But I do think that there are a lot of people, just like after the .com, people reading fuckedcompany.com probably thought the internet was over.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So given, what you know as just being someone that's an insider in the industry, how do you think anyone actually knew what was going on in FTX? Or, I mean, is it just like fluke that this CoinDesk reporter figured it out and no one else had any idea? And this guy was just such a wizardry when it came to the finances of this company that he just kept everyone in the dark.
Man, to be honest, I don't know any more than anyone else here. I was at CoinDesk today here in New York. I'm having dinner with one set of investors tonight, and I'm having dinner with another set of investors who were invested in FTX tomorrow. So maybe I'll know more on Thursday. But it feels to me like, look, SBF was a very convincing person. We all thought FTX was, one of the shining stars of the space. He's obviously, incredibly intelligent, very ambitious. And people had FOMO and they felt like, they wanted to get in on this rising star. I think, it's like the real question is like, it just points to, why wasn't there a board? Why wasn't, their governance and oversight? Why was one person able to move funds around? Like, these are really basic things that I think, a board and some investors, had a fiduciary duty to do a lot more homework here. And who knows why it didn't happen or what the kind of web of lies was. And, I have no idea. I don't have any really more information than the rest of you. And I'm watching like the tweets unfold like a murder mystery, like everybody else, and just kind of like covering my eyes and going, "Oh my God, is this real?"
Yeah.
I mean, you can't make this up.
The things I struggle with is basically, he was donating, 40-50 million to Democratic candidates this past midterms. He pledged $1 billion for the next presidential election. And if you're an investor, even if he was lying about everything, you have to be like, where is he getting the money from?
Yeah.
There has to be like a cash flow way for him to have this capital. Yeah. And he was backing venture fund manager after venture fund manager that we all know of.
Yeah.
So where was that money coming from? And no one actually cared.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to know the answer. And like, it is bizarre enough that conspiracy theories, sound plausible.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm right there where like, if you
I don't even think it's conspiracy theory. I think it's just laziness.
Well, I wonder. I mean, look, did the CIA write the Scorpion song "Wind of Change"? I don't know. I mean, this to me is like it's in that category. But I think, look, Ledger has kind of been, has had this very simple fundamental premise around security and self custody for 7+ years. On the enterprise side, we have a premise around governance. Right. And so I don't know. I mean, we couldn't have asked for a better film to kind of prove why these things are important.
Yeah.
It's like, but this is it, guys. Come on. The internet was this revolution of information. So in a way, it was a low stakes game, right? I mean, if you were a record label or if you were a cable company or if you were whatever, then it was a high stake, or a newspaper, I guess it was a high stakes game, right? But for the rest of us that were just consumers, it was a relatively low stakes game. And in fact, it kind of blew in our favor, right? Because we were going to get, free or cheap music, free or cheap, videos, free or cheap news. But now, I mean, you're talking about not a revolution of information, but a revolution of value. And in that, self-custody, governance, like these things are important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think what, I would like to do is, you're probably going to meet some very interesting people in the coming weeks, and this story is going to get even crazier. If we could just check back in 2-3 weeks, because I feel like the next week is going to be batshit crazy.
I mean, he's not stopping tweeting.
Yeah, the tweeting alone. And I just think, with now, there's just this urgency of like risk that everyone feels a need to take off the table. It feels like Ledger's in for a good Black Friday.
Yeah.
We launched our referral program this week. That was good timing. We've been working on it for months, and we literally launched it last week. And we have a rev to it coming before the end of the week. That's going to give, if you refer a friend, you get Bitcoin and your friend gets Bitcoin. So that's going to be a nice.
We need to set up a group chat one.
And then, man, we have a big announcement coming on December 6th. We're going to be, we're announcing at Ledger Open in Paris. We got something really, really, really cool. It's what we're here. And in New
Okay.
York doing some press around. So yeah, you guys
Amazing.
got to come to Paris for December
I
5th,
know.
6th, 7th.
I know we want to. We said with the kids, it's impossible.
Bring the kids. Come on. The kids love Paris.
If I had a record day like you guys, I would do that.
You guys can stay with us, man. Come on.
That's
It's a cheap one.
All right, Ian, thank you so much. I know you got a busy schedule, so we appreciate you hopping on.
Of course. I'm sorry for the technical problems on getting logged in with you guys.
No, we'll put a funny emoji as your face holder.
I'll send you the Ledger Friends GIF. You can use that for me.
Okay, perfect. That's perfect. Thanks, bro.
Thanks,
All
Ian.
right, man. Yeah, guys. I'll see you soon.
All right, we're going to do some shout outs. First, a big happy birthday shout out to Michelle from your husband, Nate. Big birthday on November 17th. And a shout out to us on 700 episodes. Happy birthday, Michelle. Hopefully you guys have a very big celebration planned this weekend. And let us know what you do. Hopefully it's something, I don't know if you have kids. Maybe without the
Festive.
Kids.
It's a festive time of year.
It is a festive time. A week before Thanksgiving. Pretty dope. We have another birthday on the 17th, and it's a big birthday for Brandon Bryant. Actually, friend of the pod, a friend of mine for a very long time. Shout out from his girlfriend, and been listening to the pod for years. Met Brandon, I don't know, probably 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah, we've had drinks with him in New York.
Yeah, through fashion stuff. And he is now over at Harlem Capital, investing out of their, I think, second or third fund.
Nice.
So big shout out to Brandon, friend of the pod. Happy birthday. November 17th, hot birthday day for Kathy's. All right, everyone. We will see you back here Thursday.